Hi, and welcome to a week of wonder. This is day one. My name is Neela. It's my absolute pleasure and privilege to welcome you here. I'm the founder of Wondr, a Belgian Australian living in the Blue Mountains, and I'm wearing my Wondr jumper today because I can't wait to get started. I love this program so much. It is so meaningful to me because it was the first thing that I launched when I started my business in January 2023. Since then, over 1,200 people globally have participated in this program and raved about it. In fact, not a week goes by that I get an email from someone saying, "Oh my God, thank you. This has changed my look on life so much, and I love the tools that you gave us." So I can't wait to get started. My intention for this program is that you remember how miraculous life is, that you reconnect to your sense of enchantment, wonder, and possibility. Remember the way that you felt as a child, where the world was your oyster, everything's possible, and you did not yet have those limitations that we put on ourselves as adults. Even on a manic Monday or an average Tuesday, it's to reconnect you to your imagination, your sense of enchantment, of possibility. It's to lower your threshold for awe and wonder. So it's something that you can always tap into, and therefore give you this baseline, this state of being that's entirely more enchanting. And that will be so helpful on days where you're more stressed or days that are a little bit darker, So that's what we're going to do in 1 week. The idea for this program came to me during that wild time we all experienced of a global pandemic, where we were collectively unwillingly abducted into the underworld and confined to our homes. Well, most of us were. For me personally, I was a transformational facilitator, working for a global tech company, traveling the world, loving life, being in touch with people every day, being out in nature, running retreats, and suddenly I was confined to this small studio and my laptop. And so very innocently, I decided as a remedy to go out for a walk every day. At dawn, I would get up, go to my coffee shop, be the first person in the queue, have a chat to my barista, and go for a walk, same wonder every single day. And I started getting to know and being curious about the plants, the trees in my neighborhood. And so over time, I developed this relationship I had never had with my environment. And it created this spark in me and this sense of belonging that was so profound that I got curious about, what is that? How am I feeling so alive just by being in communication with the world around me? And so I fell down this rabbit hole of people studying the effects of wonder and enchantment. And I'm going to share some of those things with you this week. And I fell down that rabbit hole, so you don't have to. And I combined all of that science, that biology, that taxonomy of wonder with my experience as a transformational facilitator. And here's something really important that I found that I want to share with you, and now I have woven into all of my work, is that when we think about transformation, typically transformation for human beings happens when we are challenged by something, when we're temporarily in the presence of something that is not routinous and it's challenging. So most of the time our lives change because things happen that we have not chosen, and therefore we are forced to look at all of our truths and all of our beliefs. So we're in a situation where we're like, well, this is our old story and now something has changed. Maybe a relationship has ended, or someone has passed away, or a job has ended. And now we have to look at, is this how I want to continue living? Who am I in the face of all of this? And so what happens in that instance is that our box of beliefs is opened and we can rumble around in it and make changes. And then we can move on and create a new story. That's how transformation happens. Now, in transformational work, which is what I'm trained in and what my expertise is, we look at creating these moments for people so that they are challenged, but they've chosen the challenge, so it feels safer. They're challenged to be in that in-between space, in that liminal space, and they can go rumble around in that box as well and look at, hey, I don't even believe this, or this doesn't work for me. Let me get rid of that. I want to add this in. We call that a liminal place, a liminal state. And then they can create their own story and start creating a vision for their life and move on from there. So that is the traditional way of creating transformational experiences. But what I found is that the other thing that creates that possibility of rumbling around in your box of beliefs is a state of wonder. And why, you ask? It's because wonder happens when you're temporarily in the presence of something that confuses you, that is not routinous. So it is different from your average Tuesday, and you're stopped in your tracks because your brain doesn't quite understand how that's possible. And it happens quickly, but it is the same state of being than when you are challenged and taken out of a routine. So you also have the possibility to create change when you're in a state of awe. And if I'm going to ask you to go back to a moment in time in your life where you were in that place, where you were like, oh my God, you know, maybe you had an auspicious encounter with someone that you hadn't spoken to in years, and you thought about that person that morning, and then you run into them on the street. It's like, oh, wow. And because that one thing happens, everything else becomes more possible too. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes, even in nature, you can be so impressed by the vastness, watching shooting stars, that you have that same sense of possibility. And that's what we're trying to do here, is to create a gentle transformation where you open that box of beliefs that you have and things become more possible. I'm super excited about it. The final thing I want to say is that because I have been doing personal development work for the last 10 years, what I'm noticing is that there is so much focus on people doing transformational work and being in that challenge space. So asking you to look at your story, looking at your patterns, your beliefs that no longer work. It's going and digging into the wounds and seeing what's there for you. And although I think it's important that you know your story and there's some merit in that work, the other thing that is as impactful for your healing is to remember who you are, what lights you up, and knowing to do more of that and proactively doing more of that. So being a wonder stalker and being someone that is proactively choosing the things that bring them joy. And that is what we're doing here too this week. So we're choosing to spiral up instead of spiraling down, and creating this new baseline together. So here is what I ask of you this week. See if you can be all in for this. See if you can say yes to every invitation, go on every micro adventure, and put your whole ass into it and see what happens. Because it's like anything in life, you get out what you put in. And what I know to be true as someone who has done over 10,000 hours of transformational work with people is that there will always be a part in you that is going to try and stop you from changing. There's a part of us that would like things to stay the same. And so from the moment that you say yes to something and you say, I would like to change something, I would like to create more magic in my life, I would like to lower my threshold for wonder, there's going to be a part of you that's like, oh no, that one's silly, let's not do that. It wants you to stay the same. So see if you can negotiate with that part and say yes to everything. And if you want to be all in, I highly recommend getting the Wonder Enthusiast Kit. It's $11. It's the highest value thing I've ever made. And every day you'll have at least 20 extra invitations. There's also a meditation in there to prime your state of being for wonder every morning. There's a playlist. There's a poem every day. It's honestly so, so, so incredible, and people love it. So I highly recommend you getting that just to amplify your journey. There'll be some story prompts in there. So if you're doing this with your family or with your friends, then you have discussion points as well so that you can be in that field together. All right. I'm going to share with you the invitation for today. So your first micro adventure is to go on a wonder. And I'm going to tell you what that is. Because we're shifting our perception this week slowly, this first invitation is one for you to go for a walk, if you can, in your neighborhood where you live, and you're going to see it through the eyes of a child or a newborn baby. See your neighborhood as if you've never seen it before. Try to find at least 10 things that you've never noticed. There's an art to noticing. You're going to notice 10 things. They can be plants, trees, buildings, the color of a mailbox, something growing through the pavement, and do it with a sense of fluid perception. So this is not about your 10,000 steps. You're not going somewhere. You're being in communication with something. See it as if you're going on a date with your neighborhood and you're courting your neighborhood, so you're paying attention. And see what happens when you pay attention to something. Every day I'm going to introduce new principles so that your wonder toolkit increases over these 7 days. And the 2 principles that I'm sharing today are attention and intention. So you're going to be so intentional about your walk. You're going to be super present, noticing everything around you. Try to find 10 new things. Maybe you want to look up names of plants and trees. Maybe you want to get to know an animal in your neighborhood. Maybe you want to have a conversation with a neighbor. You're noticing it like you've never noticed it before. You're so intentional. You can be intentional about how you walk, the pace of your steps. But you're going to find new things. And then the second principle is attention. So pay attention. Involve all of your senses. So you're not just wandering around like you always do. Maybe this time you are looking up and looking down. You can bring a magnifying glass on your wonder. You can bring something to collect treasures. What does your neighborhood smell like? What does it feel like? What are the textures of things? Treat your neighborhood and the environment that you're walking in as a human being that you're in communication with, that you're going on a date with. Become so curious about your neighborhood. Hey, tell me more. It's okay to talk to trees and plants and animals. Like I said, go as far afield as you go. And when you're on a wonder walk, you're proactively cultivating wonder. So you're trying to find things that positively kill you with delight, in the words of the beautiful Mary Oliver. Find as many things as you can that you're like, oh wow, I've never noticed that before. And the beauty of this practice is that you will find things and things will find you. As soon as you start courting the world courts you back. It's an amazing natural law that we will apprentice to for these 7 days together. Okay, so you're going on a wonder walk. Please put your phone on airplane mode if you can, and be as intentional about it as you can, and pay as much attention as you can. And then take photos and share them on Instagram and tag me at wondr.global. I always love seeing what people discover and what happens and the auspicious encounters they have and the treasures that they find. So this is your first day. You're going on a wonder. I can't wait to see what you discover, and I look forward to continuing on this journey tomorrow. See you then.